I would like to talk to you today about 3 specific reasons why God appears and seems to be mysterious to us and unknowable to a large degree. When I say us, I mean humanity in general. But I mean specifically mostly Christian people when I make these 3 particular assertions. Why? Because Christian people regularly take these 3 incorrect approaches toward God when they try to relate to Him. And the reason they don't work is because it's not God's MO. These 3 approaches to relating to God that I'm going to tell you about are not God's modus operandi. They're not how He operates. Which is why when Christian people try to approach Him out of these 3 ways, it doesn't work, and the relationship is muddled up and weird, and God remains mysterious. So here they are. But first, I'm going to tell you the true way of relating to God. The true way of relating to God is through relationship and love. That is God's eternal, permanent, real modus operandi. Why? Because He is love. God is love. And where's the only place you can find love? Inside of relationship. When we relate to God and when we approach God, we must come to Him, approach Him in that framework. We just must, because that's who He is. If we don't approach Him in that framework, love inside of relationship, then it's kind of like trying to walk into a bank and you start talking all about plumbing. You're going to go into a bank and they're going to be wanting to tell you all about loans and CDs and savings and financial this and financial that and money markets and interest rates and all this stuff, and you're going to be talking about plumbing and water leaks and thread tape and pipe wrenches, and they're going to be like, and nothing will get accomplished. Absolutely nothing, because you'll keep going on and on about plumbing, and they'll keep going on and about money, and eventually you'll both be frustrated and leave. It's the same thing. So here we go. 3 ways you cannot approach God and expect to have any sort of decent, real relationship with Him. Number 1, fear. God is not a fear God. Okay? I know the Bible talks a lot about the fear of the Lord, but the proper interpretation of that is the acknowledgement and respect. Okay? That's what that means when Proverbs and many other places in the Bible talk about the fear of God. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, all that stuff. It's talking about simple acknowledgement of Him and respect for Him. That's what that means, okay? It doesn't mean abject fear, okay? Now, there is discipline, which is a component of relationship, and in that discipline, it can be it can be not unhealthy fear, but a simple, oh crap, I'm gonna get spanked. But it always happens for a specific purpose out of love, right? So that, and David experienced this a lot, you can see it. He's like, okay, I know I'm going to be disciplined here, but I also know it's you, so I trust you in it. And we can see that in the story where God gave him 3 choices to choose from for his discipline. And He said, put me in your hands because I trust you. Right? So that's the only time that something appears as fear that's valid inside of a relationship with God, is inside of discipline. But it's not an abject, unhealthy fear, like so many people, including myself, for years have envisioned Him as and approached Him as. So when you approach God out of fear, you're not talking His language. You're talking a foreign language. He's like, I'm love, and perfect love casts out fear. So You have to speak his language. And love is a many splendored thing, right? It involves anything that he does. Everything he does is out of love. So you have to speak his language. You have to come to him, develop a relationship with him in which love rules the day. And out of that love, sometimes you will get discipline. That's the only place that anything resembling fear will ever play a part in your relationship with him. You can't come to him out of abject fear. Number 2, theology. People, millions, probably billions of Christian people the world over make this mistake. They think that God is mostly concerned with their theology, and so they strive really hard to get it correct. I see this all the time on the internet. People constantly arguing about theology and doctrine and the proper church and the proper denomination and all this stuff, right? There's big wars about it all over YouTube, right? They tear each other down all the time. But this is not love. God is love. So when we just try to get our theology correct to relate to him, he's like, that's not who I am. I am not proper theology. I'm love. My proper theology is love, and I rule by the law of love. That's my theology, and you only get to understand that theology when you live in love with me and experience it as I administer it to you, and you learn to walk in it yourself, for yourself and others. That's my theology for you. So, when anybody, any Christian person or anyone tries to approach God on the basis of, hey, I've got my theology correct, and they make all these videos on YouTube about it, and they argue about it constantly, and these people are wrong, and I'm right, and blah, 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 goes on and on and on. You're not talking God's language. And the church has been doing this for millennia. That's why all the church splits. And meanwhile, God's sitting up there going, boy, I wonder if anybody actually wants to get to know me. Because that's my language. My language is I want to know you and be with you and sit with you and talk with you. Love, the first and greatest commandment. You're supposed to be in love with me. Where's the only place you can find love? Inside a relationship. If you want good theology, keep the first and greatest commandment. In love. In relationship. Third one is morality. People get hung up on this, and I know I'll get, well, maybe. People get hung up on morality because they think God's primary concern is morality. It's not his primary concern. It is a concern, okay? But it's not his primary concern. Morality can only exist in the context of relationship, because you can only sin against somebody when there's somebody to sin against. Okay? You can't sin against nobody, right? If you're the only person on earth, I mean, who are you going to sin against, right? It's just impossible. So morality only, I mean, I guess you can have a relationship with yourself. That's true, right? You could sin against yourself, which sucks, okay? But that's why we're commanded to love ourselves as well, right? Love your neighbor as you love yourself. So morality is a component of relationship, is the point in all that, okay? So relationship gives birth. Relationship and love gives birth to morality. It's not the other way around. Morality does not give birth to love and relationship, but that's what millions of Christians try to do. They try to approach God from a moral standpoint. I'm going to be good, and then God will love me. But it doesn't work that way. Because again, morality doesn't give birth to love. Love gives birth to morality. It's very logical. Think it through. Morality will never, ever, ever give birth to love. Okay? Love makes a place for morality to exist. Relationship provides a context in which morality functions. So morality is a function of love and relationship. So I said it's one of God's concerns, and it is. Okay? We know that morality is one of God's concerns, but it's the child of relationship. So when you come to God on a strictly moral basis, he's like, you're missing the point. Morality comes second. We'll get to morality. We're going to deal with it. We're not going to ignore it. But you have to have relationship first to provide a context in which morality can even function. He goes, so come to me first in relationship, in love. Then we'll deal with morality. Then you will experience my discipline because it's a part of love. Okay? And then your doctrine and your theology will be perfect. Well, not perfect, but it'll be flawless because you'll be living it with me. And my doctrine is love. The pure law of love that he governs the universe by. So, if you would like to take the mystery out of God, if you would like to take God out of the shrouded in mystery over there somewhere, we're kind of afraid of him, so we work real hard to be good and get our doctrine straight. Arena, if you want to take him out of that arena into the arena of, we actually have a functioning relationship, we know each other, we're living in the fulfillment of the first and greatest commandment, we're doing his will, as it says in the beginning of Colossians and Thessalonians, right? If you want to actually reach that place, that spot, you have to do it in God's MO. And you have to meet God on his terms. What are his terms? The first and greatest commandment. Have a relationship with me in love. Be in love with me. Love can only be found inside a relationship. Meet me on my terms. We'll do that first, and everything else, including those other three things, but a lot of other things as well, will be straightened out. That's how to remove the mystery between you, us, and God. Thank you, and have a nice day.